Just to remind everybody, in November I'm going to be spending a month in Florence, Italy, and during that month I'm going to use Florence as my launching point to spend day trips in and around Tuscany and northern Italy. I'll be using the train to discover as many of these little small off-the-beaten-path towns as I can. So in this video I'm going to show you how to take the train down to Arezzo. Arezzo is only an hour south of Florence and is definitely worth a visit, especially because it's so easy to reach by train. The main historic center of Arezzo is very close to the train station, which means ideal for me walking around. The website lovefromtuscany.com says it's an ideal day trip and you can see all the major sites from this little small hilltop town in one day. This is a perfect plan for me since I want to see as much as I can and still get back to Florence before it gets dark. Like many of the hilltop towns in Tuscany, it dates its history all the way back to the Etruscan times and has many beautiful medieval buildings, including a handsome center square that's filled with shops and restaurants. It looks like this is an ideal place to stop, see the sights, do some shopping, and have a leisurely lunch before returning back to Florence. There are remnants of an old Roman amphitheater in town. Inside the 14th century Basilica of San Francesco, there's said to be some of the greatest and most beautiful frescoes of the early Renaissance. Some historians believe that these frescoes, made by Pietro della Francesca, are second only to those in the Sistine Chapel, and the series of the frescoes tells a story of which is known as the Legend of the True Cross. In town there's also a two-story palace called Casa Vasari, owned by the 15th century Italian painter Giorgio Vasari, and is open to visitors. It's said to be lavishly decorated, and I love to see how these rich and famous painted their walls back in the day. Arezzo also hosts one of the biggest antique fairs in Italy, and it's held on the first weekend of every month. Although I'll be visiting just shy of Christmas, I imagine there'll always be some antiques in and around the city square for me to see. The city's also known for its gold and silver jewelry and its fashion goods, since it's so close to Florence. And because it only takes an hour to get there from Florence, it's such a small, quaint town, I can take my time eating lunch either inside or outside, depending on the weather. Either way, it'll be enjoyable to have a leisurely lunch before I take my train back to Florence.